Institute of Directors organizes its 13th International Conference on Corporate Social Responsibility. This is the reason why Institute of Directors brings together various stakeholders from every part of the corporate world, with the theme of integrating CSR into the corporate mandate. This year, we've tried to put together something extraordinary so that we can discuss some global topical issues and trends that concern CSR and are related to Board of Directors. I would like to start the inaugural session with the welcome address by Mr. R.G. Rajan. Sir, can I please request you to join me on the dais?
I extend a truly hearty and warm welcome to you all. The theme of the conference is integrating CSR mandate into corporate strategy. IOD was established in the year 1990, and it is the apex association for directors in India. IOD is committed in its endeavor for building boards of the future. Thank you.
And now, to deliver opening remarks, I would like to request Mr. Lieutenant General J.S. Ahluwalia, President of Institute of Directors, to please come on the dais.
It's a great pleasure for me to welcome you all for this 13th convention of the CSR organized by IOD. Question is not whether to take in CSR or not, but how to integrate CSR into our strategy. Can we internalize CSR as a business process? Can CSR be made part of the CEO's balanced scorecard? These are the two main questions that we shall be going through, and I'm sure we will look for their answers. Thank you very much.
CSR also should actually be a seamless part of the business scenario, and like Lieutenant General Ahluwalia was mentioning, that we are trying to see that it becomes a part of the boardroom or the dashboard of the CEO. I think that statement needs to be slightly modified to say that the CEO has no choice. It has to be a part of the CEO's mandate, because today, in the world of the millennial, when an idea occurs today, tomorrow it becomes a startup, and day after it is reaching millions. Thank you, sir.
I'm very proud that Indian corporates have taken this up on themselves, that they must spend CSR money effectively. Many of them have spent very brilliantly. Everyone's boat in this country is now being led by corporates, and people who are achievers in their own private lives are now also using their might and also their money in uplifting everyone's boats, even in public life. So thank you very much.
So I'd like to focus on the work here in India of a very British institution that you may not have heard of, the British Asia Trust, and in particular its innovative development impact bond, where it's working with our government's Department for International Development. The UK government's association with the British Asian Trust is an expression of the UK's commitment to global Britain, embracing technical partnership to address problems, large problems facing the world, with the innovation of product, service, and process. And I commend their thoughts to you. Thank you so much.
The global connectivity our economies enjoy has enabled more businesses than ever to become household names around the world. And as technology allows innovative new businesses to scale up more speedily than ever, increasing numbers of ambitious companies will have the opportunity to build multinational brands should they wish. With this enhanced opportunity comes increased responsibility. As part of their license to operate, the public increasingly expects companies to be a force for good, generating not just value for themselves and their shareholders, but also for wider society. Thank you.
Join your hands, put them together for Honorable Justice Kurian Joseph.
Ladies and gentlemen, as chairman of the jury, I just wanted to tell you, our endeavor was to see whether what we have seen on papers which you submitted are actually available on ground, which has been assessed, verified, and in that process only, we have selected the winners whom you will be in a position to shortly by the evening. So what is social responsibility? Social responsibility is just nothing but paying back to the society, discharging our debt to the society on what we have taken from the society. So let me conclude, my brothers and sisters, that please do take this corporate social responsibility as our own fundamental institutional corporate duty. All the best. Jai Hind.
The first MSME summit we held in Delhi last year, just a year back, in which we had the Lieutenant Governor of Delhi as the chief guest. We have Mr. Chandiramani. I will request him to say a few words.
We have looked at the possibility, and we have since 3 years now developed a unique, first of its kind strategy in which we are going to remove those firewalls and bring the consumer directly in touch with the brand owner. And this is going to be on a social platform with the mindset of not disrupting the technology. We are forced to create, and we have created, disruptive technologies like the others, but our technology, our disruptive technology, is to disrupt the disruptors, not the consumers and not the brand owners. We wish to encourage a trade between the consumer and the brand, and we are going to create that portal in a social, ethical, and moral way.
I'm very grateful to Mr. Mishra, who came all the way from Delhi to help us launch this division in a formal manner and say a few words of what he really expects IOD to be doing in this way.
So towards this end, General Sahab has been very kind, I would say, and I would like to express deep sense of gratitude on my own behalf and on behalf of the organization I come from, for him to have taken this step of opening one division in the IOD, which is traditionally known as a big boys club. And so being in the company of those who have the power, who have the energy, who have the resources, who have the strength, you can't imagine, that in itself is empowering. Being in the august company of those who have the capability in itself is empowering. Even if you do not give anything, just you accept somebody being around you, that itself empowers. With these few words, thank you all once again.
IOD's effort is excellent. It is embedding CSR in corporate governance, so which is fantastic. We are doing something from the other side, which is government does its own thing because it has got huge government machinery in terms of staff and huge budgets. So they do their own things in every single sector, and they don't account for pretty excellent initiatives, might be small in scale, from the CSR side. So we want to learn from CSR initiatives, basically converge them with the government programs so that we can upscale the good lessons from the CSR successes.
I'm looking forward to strong messaging. I'm looking forward to people leaving very serious food for thought. The constitutional consciousness that Justice Kurian Joseph gave to the audience, that we are doing CSR not because we are doing a charity, but because it is our own repayment of our obligation to society. That was an extremely powerful message. And I could see that it was ringing through the whole session.
So this is a very welcome initiative, and I have been following IOD over the years, and this definitely brings all the stakeholders and everyone together. While we have now a mandatory CSR since 2013 as per law, many of the companies are still not very certain about how to go about it, what are the areas that they should focus on, which are the possible good government entities or NGOs, other corporate entities that they should collaborate with. What I saw was that there is now a broad consensus. Everybody wants to engage, especially from the corporates and other stakeholders. They all want to they are committed to CSR. They're saying that we should not see it only as an extension of our business strategy, but we should see it as a way of giving back to society or making the planet a better place than what we inherited from.
We had very fruitful sessions all across. There are altogether 7 plenary sessions. I was part of the third, and in that we were basically talking about responsible corporate social responsibility, whether be it the individual or be it the corporate entity or be it any professional. And that is a very strong message that we are carrying forward. It is definitely true that in India, it is a part of the legislation that you have to do the corporate social responsibility. But the way Justice Kurian talked about that, it is time to pay back to the society. Whatever the society has given to us, it is high time we paid back.
As an Indian citizen, it is our duty to try and help our country in whichever way possible.
Now we come to the most awaited part of this conference, which is the presentation ceremony of the Golden Peacock Awards for CSR and HR Excellence. And we would like to begin it with a very special award. Every year, the Awards Committee of Golden Peacock Awards selects leaders and public figures of eminence for conferring what we call the Golden Peacock Leadership Award. And we are very glad to announce this honor upon Mrs. Sangeeta Jindal, Chairperson, JSW Foundation.
Thank you so much for giving me this wonderful award. This award actually goes to my team, the JSW Foundation team. They are the ones who go onto the field and do everything. I am sitting here in an air-conditioned office and directing. So as an Indian citizen, it is our duty to try and help our country in whichever way possible. And JSW Foundation, this is just the start. You have so much more to do. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Jindal, and many, many congratulations to you. And now we move on to the presentation of the Institutional Golden Peacock Awards across the categories of Corporate Social Responsibility, both global and national, and HR Excellence. So let's start the award.
Golden Peacock Awards for Corporate Social Responsibility, Automobile Sector goes to Tata Motors Limited. Golden Peacock Awards for Corporate Social Responsibility, Liquid Logistics Sector goes to TriStar Group. Golden Peacock Awards for Corporate Social Responsibility, Oil Production Sector goes to Emirates National Oil Company. Golden Peacock Awards for Corporate Social Responsibility, Petrochemical Sector goes to Reliance Industries Limited. Golden Peacock Awards for Corporate Social Responsibility, IT Sector, Dell International Service India Private Limited. Golden Peacock Awards for Corporate Social Responsibility, Telecommunication Sector goes to Vodafone Idea Limited. Golden Peacock Awards for Corporate Social Responsibility. Retail sector goes to ITC Limited, Lifestyle Retailing Business Division.
I'm very thankful to Institute of Directors that they have invited me to deliver a speech on CSR and the role and responsibility of this particular corporation in connection with the development and upgradation of the quality of life of Charmakar community, and have appealed to the August community and various members of this conference. The main thing that the CSR, the corporate social responsibility, is a big project, is a big, we can say it's a good attitude of government. My appeal has been well taken by the August members, and there was a good question from the various members of the for the conference, and I'm very happy that something will surely come out of this conference, that we will be able to make a clear policy and scheme, implementable and successful policy, and would be see the change in quality of life of Charmakar.
This is a very important conclave, and I'm very happy to see some leading industrial leaders here, and the kind of questions and the kind of discussions we have had in the session that I moderated. I think the ideas that were discussed and the co-panelists presented certainly sparked some interest in, especially for example, the one panelist who talked about Charmakar community. So I think all the three co-panelists talked about very interesting ideas, and certainly this can be shared across the sector, and I think shared across many other corporate bodies as well as with NGOs who would really like to see how to work with young people, how to work with communities which are backward, and of course how to work in a very digitally informed way.
I believe IOD is doing a great job because it needs awareness raising, it needs input, it needs know-how to really promote social responsibility, because it's not necessarily a self-explaining topic. It needs some knowledge and it needs input for that, and here IOD is doing an excellent job. The key takeaway is that it still takes some understanding from moving from charity philanthropy to actually making CSR your core management system in your business. And there is a growing number of people who actually have touched on this subject. There's still a number who understand CSR as charity, and I hope we will get less and less over the years.
However, the issue of IOD having done 13th anniversary, or I would say 13th edition of their conference on what do you call it, CSR. I really commend them, because it's not easy to bring people together to talk about their concerns and the rest of it, but for them to consistently run it, I commend it. And I think really a pleasure for me to be here, and we want to see where we can change, because we have a problem in this world. And part of our job is to find ways we can rebuild the bricks. And when you talk about CSR is like something which even you don't have to go philosophical, because if the air you breathe, the kind of humane society you live, we all have to give something back.
As far as CSR is concerned, there are twofold relationships. One is MSMEs as the beneficiary of this process, and the other thing is MSMEs as the givers of the CSR process. Both are important, because in our country, these micro enterprises and small enterprises, they do need all types of help, and that help can come from anywhere. So the government does have a lot of schemes for well-being of the MSMEs, the micro and small sector particularly. But if it is coming from corporates themselves, and the biggest possible help for MSME is the market access, and this is where the big corporates, they can come forward and then ensure that market access to these units. And that is the biggest possible source of CSR, I would say. This is a great initiative, and has very immense potential for well-being of MSMEs in the days to come. Not only that, but I would say that if the big corporates get interested in CSR for the MSME, there is also a possibility for them to diversify their business, expand their business, and sell more globally. So for India, there's a lot of opportunity in the global and regional value chains. And the enterprises which are already interfacing those value chains, there's a lot more business which is possible. And while working with MSMEs, these corporates can leverage upon those opportunities. So it's a mutually beneficial proposition. And therefore the IOD, which works so actively on the leadership front of these corporates, I think it has taken very great decision to start this initiative.
I think it is an extremely important initiative which has been done by IOD, because it touches all our lives, not only our lives as corporates, but our life into the society in which we are all staying. People are all united to work towards this collective good, and we are all determined and committed to see that this country becomes a country which is recognized, in a sense that we are all working towards each other and towards the society as a whole to bring it up.
One thing that I learned this afternoon from the session I was involved in with the speakers is that, as organizations, we are all very much connected in one supply chain. I think this event is very good because it talks about an extremely important subject for all boards and senior leadership of organizations to look at, because organizations need to be socioeconomic drivers and need to impact positively on society.
We all know now that we have to actually grow responsibly, grow our business, grow our GDP very responsibly. But unfolding what lies below these SDGs and below this integrated reporting and how do we measure our performance has become very important. And I think this conclave brings all that, opens the door for us, opens the knowledge for us that how are we going to actually multiply that social capital.
CSR cannot be run in silos, and it's not just a compliance issue, it's an issue of engaging the entire community. So while they definitely work with development actors who implement projects on the ground, they collaborate with the governments and the local bodies as well. But it was very interesting to note that the employees of the corporate were engaged. In some cases, they were also contributing towards the CSR agenda of the company, which really brings a huge value. And the volunteering was another thing that people spoke about. And that was really great because with volunteering, it's not just the money, we also bring on board new skill sets.
IOD is very thought-provoking. This is my third presentation here, and I've been involved with IOD since last 3 years, and Mr. Walia, Mr. Ahluwalia and Mr. Kapoor are backbone to the success. So it's a very impressive platform, and it's based out of all the directors. Usually CSR is always 2% of your profit, and publicly listed companies has to do it mandatorily. But I see it that if it's public or non-public, people should embed their profits into socially sustainable empowerment, and it should come from within the heart.